shut down.
Oh, I'm a very loyal guy. Mangoes and how to use them. Eliza Ward's here from Chef Shop, going to help us pick out the perfect. So when you walk in, it's like walking into Wajimaya, seeing the soy sauce section. It's like, what the hell am I supposed to do here? There's 50 soy sauces. Well, same thing with dried pasta. How do you know? They range from $2 a pound to $20 a pound. And you just don't know what to do. So we always tackle that issue with a Hot Stove Society tasting panel. Mm-hmm. But we're going to ask Eliza to give us a shortcut today.
Great.
And talk about that. And, of course, we're going to wrap up the show with Food for Thought tasty trivia, as we do weekly. We have a guest trivia producer today.
We do.
Who is that?
It's our new marketing gal, Taylor. She came on her second day of work here. We threw her on the microphone to do trivia, and she's the sweetest person, and I really hope she gives you some hard questions.
I think that whole sweet thing is a facade.
I hope so.
I think there's a mean person behind that lovely facade.
We're gonna find it.
She curses us at night at home.
I think so. We're going to find out. We're going to test it.
Okay. Testing Taylor.
We're going to see if we can get her to have a little beep on the radio.
Oh. Perfect.
So it's like 5 T's, not 3 T's. Testing Taylor.
Trivia.
Okay, what's your taste of the week? Speaking of T's.
Oh, Tom, I broke the rules and I bought some beautiful asparagus from California. I just was craving
in February.
I know. It's been so hot down in California. It was beautiful, and your friend Charlie shipped it up here.
Don't look at me like I'm supposed to absolve you of your sin.
Whatever, dude. Anyway, it was super delicious. They were beautiful, thin little asparagus.
I hate thin asparagus.
Oh, they're so good. And so I flash roasted those in a 400-degree oven with just a little extra virgin olive oil. And then we grilled some beautiful steaks from the spot over there in Ballard, Beast and Cleaver, and had a big, beautiful salad. It was the best.
Wow, this is like midsummertime meal right here in February.
Oh, it was so good. Well, it was sunshine. It was so
Sometimes
gray
you
last
just have
week.
to do it. Sometimes you have to do it.
It was so gray last week. Oh, it was delicious.
Yeah.
And the asparagus, literally in that 400-degree oven, they were in there for about 3 minutes. And they were just bright and grassy and green. Very delicious.
Well, my taste of the week is a Dorado that my son-in-law caught.
No way.
Yeah.
Delicious.
And I'm not usually a Maui mahi fan, which is what Dorado is.
Oh, man. When they're right out of the water, can't beat the flavor.
They are such beautiful fish. They have like a little hammerhead to them, but when you catch them, they change into this iridescent kind of color.
It's beautiful.
And they're chasing they were chasing flying fish. So we saw the flying fish go by.
Oh, you were out on the boat?
Yeah.
Nice.
Or he was out on the boat, and saw these flying fish go by. So they knew they had something behind them, and they got 3 Dorado.
No way.
In a matter of 10 minutes.
Wow.
In a 6-hour trip, and that was it.
And where were they fishing straight out?
You know what that means?
That means a lot of money.
5 hours and 50 minutes of nothing, nada, zero, nil, and 10 minutes of joy.
Were they trolling or were they motoring?
They were motoring.
That's good. At least you're not seasick.
For all the big fish over there, they motor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't get seasick.
I guess the important part of why it's Taste of the Week was that my daughter was cooking it, and she calls me, and, Loretta, she does the show, blah, blah, blah. She calls me and says, what do I do with this?
Nothing. Just put it on the grill.
Yeah.
It's so fresh.
The thing is, I just went right back to my old standard, which is you give it a hard sear on one side, you turn it over, depending on the thickness, and then you turn off your heat and let the residual heat of your pan or your grill just continue that warmth through. Because what people tend to do is they hard sear one side, turn it over, hard sear the other side, and now you can't stop the heat.
Right. And then the inside.
Next thing you know, it's dried out and gross.
Right.
You've ruined this beautiful natural phenomena.
And, I must say, I do, when I'm over in Hawaii, that's the only time I make those tropical salsas to go with fish like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So delicious.
All right.
That's a good taste.
Good taste. Maui Meets up next on Cairo Radio. It's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM. Did you guys clap without audience motivation? Richard, did you even put your hands up?
I didn't. That was them.
That's impressive. First time that's ever happened. Usually you have to. Chef Terry was the best audience motivator.
He was. Put his hands high in the air.
All right, let's jump right into Maui meat here. We're on the Hot Stove Society show, Cairo Radio. And, Bridget, I just came back from my annual trip to the Big Island.
Yep.
And one of the things I was saying earlier in the opening was that every store, and probably here now too, most grocery stores have this kind of pre-marinated, what they call sometimes teriyaki, sometimes they call it soy sauce meat or whatever. But it's over there in the old days here in Seattle, it was called Maui meat. Maui as in the island of Maui.
Right.
And it's a pretty simple technique. There's a couple of things that can give you a bit of an advantage in your marinade. So let's just pick three things. Like you wouldn't do this to a piece of fish.
No.
Because the salt in the soy sauce will drain out all the moisture and won't be good. But you can do it on ribs. You can do it on beef. You can do it on chicken.
Flank
pork,
steak, skirt steak.
Flank steak, blah, blah, blah. So a couple of things to make you more successful. Well, let's make our marinade first.
Okay, because, don't they have different flavors when you're there at the store?
Not really. There's house recipes, but almost everyone over there uses the Aloha brand.
Soy sauce.
No, they actually make a barbecue, what they call a barbecue sauce, and that's what the Maui meat glaze is. But for me, what I do is I go to Chinatown or Asian Family Market or someplace, and I buy Kun Chung brand, which is the blue and yellow label.
Blue and yellow,
Kun Chung brand, sweet soy sauce.
Oh.
And so what the difference is, you can take soy sauce and add sugar to it, or you could buy this sweet soy sauce, and that part's already done. And typically they use palm sugar. To me, it's palm sugar is a little bit like brown sugar.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's more natural or not, but to me, it gives it a little bit extra flavor.
Got it. And is it labeled sweet soy? It's not
labeled sweet soy. There's dark soy, thin soy, thick soy. There's all kinds, mushroom soy, all kinds of soy sauce.
Black soy.
So I just buy sweet soy.
Okay.
And that's the base for my Maui meat.
And then you add aromatics after that.
I add a few things after that. I just don't want to forget anything.
He's looking it up.
Well, I don't want to forget anything because once you have that in place and the amount that you need for a marinade, because almost all your liquid is now what you have, that sweet soy and the sugar combo.
Right.
It's pretty much your liquid, other than I add mirin, which is a sweet sake.
Right. And then, do you ever use shaksing,
I don't
Chinese
so
one?
much, but the fudge that I make with my Maui meat, which is not in any recipe you're going to find online, is I add fish sauce.
Oh.
I am a fish sauce nut because to me it adds a layer of flavor, kind of like anchovy does into a dressing, where you don't really identify that flavor, but it adds a depth of flavor.
Got it.
So I do that. The other thing you'll see all the time is green onions, which is fine. I like to make them as small as possible. Whenever I see a recipe like this, like the one I just looked up online is food.com, I guess is what it is. And, it's got green onions. It's diced, but then it says fresh ginger root peeled and sliced lengthwise to the size of your thumb. Now, I can tell you, like, if this is going to sit in a marinade overnight, or you're just not going to get the flavor out of the ginger.
Yeah, not a bunch of transfer there, right?
No, not at all. So always grate your ginger and your garlic in a marinade so that you pick up all the essence of those two ingredients. I mean, just crushing a garlic clove, which is what this thing calls for, it's not going to do it.
Got it. And then
especially if you're trying to hurry a little bit.
What about lemongrass? Or is that too specific a flavor?
No, it's fine. Star anise would be good in there. There's lots of different things, adjustments you could make to your taste. But essentially, that's your bottom line, right? And you don't want to add vinegar, in my opinion, right? Because vinegar starts to work the meat.
All right, let me get this. So it's the sweet soy, the mirin, grated ginger, grated garlic, and a little bit of fish sauce. Those green 5 ingredients. Oh, and green onion.
And sesame oil.
Sesame oil is the last
and
one.
I have always been a proponent. I've always been a proponent of never too much. Don't use too much sesame oil. But lately, I have kind of reversed that a little bit, and I use more sesame oil because it's so strong. Because I really like that flavor.
You like the toasted sesame, not the
oil
neutral.
flavor. Yeah.
Right.
Why bother? If it's neutral, why bother?
I know.
Right. It's like,
well, I mean, there's that discussion in Asian cookery books
of neutral oils
versus neutral sesame oil versus a toasted sesame.
And what do they say?
Well, the neutral sesame oils are available and are what they use instead of perhaps peanut or some other neutral oil
to fry in or something like that. Okay. That would make more sense, obviously. You're not going to deep fry in toasted sesame oil.
Correct.
That would be gross. So anyway, so now let's get our meat together.
Okay.
So you can just walk by the boneless, skinless chicken breast department. Just walk on by.
Well, Loretta doesn't right?
Pretend you're not my daughter and just walk on by and move on to the chicken thighs or chicken wings.
Yep.
And if you're going to use chicken wings, then you want to put a slit right in the middle of the wing, right next to the bone, so that the marinade can get inside while it's going. Because if you just put in the full skin on wing, it's not going to penetrate.
Yeah. Got it.
So chicken thighs, again, you can do them bone in, but to me, I bone out the chicken thigh so I get all kinds of coverage with my marinade.
Surface area.
It's almost like it's butterflied, right?
Okay.
For steak, what you see in the grocery store oftentimes is the steaks like the skirt steak or the flank steak or top sirloin, whatever it is that they're using. They run them through the cuber machine. You know the cuber that they use to make the steak for chicken fried steak?
Like Swiss steak.
Yeah.
Right?
Chicken fried steak, Swiss steak. They kind of run them through that, and that makes quick little slices into the steak. Once again, your marinade can travel right into the meat. And while it gives you a bit of a funny texture when you go to slice it and eat it, it does give you a fast way to marinate the meat.
Got it. And so you're not doing this to a nice steak, like a...
You can do it to whatever you want, but I personally am not. Yeah.
For the lesser, you're going for those lesser cuts.
Well, if you go to Daniel's Broiler tonight, you'll see filet mignon on the menu, and then in the appetizer section, you'll see filet tips, teriyaki little filet mignon tips, right? So what they're doing is same idea, Maui meat, right? But they're taking the chain and the tail trim off of the whole fillets, and then utilizing that meat in their teriyaki tips.
Right.
So yeah, you could use a fancy cut of meat, but just save the fancy cut itself for your different usage, and go ahead and use the trim for Maui meat.
Right.
The other big one that is my favorite way is Korean style short ribs.
Oh, delicious!
Right. So those are the short ribs that are cut across the bone, only a ½ inch thick. And the big mistake people made, and I overcooked mine this time too, because I'm a knucklehead.
So the mistake is overcooking them.
The mistake, people don't realize that you can cook short ribs rare to medium rare, and they are melt in your mouth, tender, delicious. Because people always have this impression like short ribs are like pot roast. You have to cook them, braise them out.
Got it.
And it's not true.
Got it.
Especially if they've been marinated in this tenderizing kind of teriyaki Maui meat mix.
So you're talking about those short ribs that have those little medallions of bone across that strip, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
and
those are good.
If you're me on those little bones, you eat all the meat, and then there's a little kind of cartilage touch of meat in between each of the 3 or 4 bones that are in the short rib rack. If you're me, you kind of get after the meat and you leave the rest. If you're my wife, those things are like they've been through a power washer. It's the craziest thing. I look over and she's got that look on her face like, you are such a loser that you don't eat all of your short rib.
You just pick off the meat, like Mr. Delicate guy.
Yeah, instead of all the gristle in between. Yeah, and she just
I didn't realize you were so delicate.
Every time I'm a loser, apparently. So I don't care.
I think they call it a varsity loser. V.
A varsity loser?
Right.
Can you get a varsity letter for being a loser?
It's like this, and then if you're on YouTube.
You're on radio, right now. You're on radio. So tell people what you did.
It's you make an L with your thumb and index finger, and then you add your middle finger and put it on your forehead. So tell them.
Can I trace that out with a Sharpie on your forehead?
No, I got enough problems going on.
Anyway, so that's Maui meat. You want to get on your charcoal fire, super hot heat. Get the meat on, give it a hard sear on both sides, get it off.
So you don't pat it dry or get some of that moisture off. You go for it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Let that caramelize. That's all kind of sugar soy, right? Let it caramelize super quick on the charcoal and then get it off.
And how long do you marinate it for?
It can go for up to 24 hours.
At the most.
Yeah. I mean, it starts to change the textures and things of your meat product.
Got it.
So, yeah, I don't like to go much more than that. There's no need. All right. Up next, it's time to head over to Freelard and talk to Burke Gall of Hamdi Restaurant. He's here. We're going to talk about a bunch of different things when it comes to Turkish cuisine on Cairo Radio. It's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM. 2 seconds. Yeah.
Hi, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. I'm great. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you so much. Yeah. It's good.
You guys were so busy there for a while that I never made it in.
Yeah.
And I drive by. I live up in Ballard. So I
Oh, nice.
always like looking. Are they going to come one of these nights?
Yeah, come by.
How's biz?
It's good.
Is it good?
It's, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Easy. Try to keep up.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit to the left. Yeah.
Just work with me on getting right up on there, Burke. Cameron, will you lift that mic up to his face, please? And then have him scoot in so he doesn't have to lean over to talk into it.
It's close.
Just right on top
Yeah.
of it.
Can you hear me, Chef?
My wife had rotator cuff surgery yesterday.
Oh.
So she was up literally all night, and it's like my eyes are so drooping right now.
You want to borrow my glasses?
No, I have glasses. It's sleep. It's called sleep.
I know, but it kind of hides them. Oh, poor Jackie. That's a tough one, man. That pain.
Yeah.
Coming out of surgery. Wow.
She hasn't quite felt it yet. It happened today.
Oh, it's happening today?
No. The pain.
Oh. It's called painkillers.
She's on one of those nerve blockers right now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a rough one. My recommendation for that is to paint one of your rooms in the next week or so. It's awesome rehab for a rotator cuff. It's so true.
Specifically, the doctor says don't move your arm for 2 weeks.
No, it's not true.
It's not true. Hey, doctor.
Whatever. Yeah, the doctors.
All right, here we are. We're back in the kitchens here at the Hot Stove Society. We are down in downtown Seattle, the beautiful Hotel Andra, which has been our host now for over 10 years. Wow. We love them. 20 years at Lola, 10 years up here at the Hot Stove. And I don't know if you remember or not, but this used to be where the owner of the hotel and I would have golf matches.
You and Craig.
Me and Craig, yeah. Luckily, I could handle my whiskey better than he could. And 2 whiskeys in, I started to win. We are going to jump right into Burke Gall. He's the chef and owner of Hamdi Restaurant. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you, Chef.
And you are also the employer of my partner's number one son.
Yeah, Giacomo.
Yeah. And how's he doing?
He's doing good. Yeah.
He's doing good.
He's doing good?
Yeah, he's going to go to Japan soon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I think the whole family's going, right?
E.T. staying behind, but yeah, Giacomo is going.
Fun.
Yeah.
We love
His
him.
girlfriend, yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah,
Tell us about you and how you got started, other than I know you are a rower.
Yeah, I'm a rower. I used to row. Yeah. It was a long time ago, though. I think I started 12 years old.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I wasn't going in the right direction when I was a teenager. My parents.
That's never happened before.
Yeah. So much fighting, drinking in the young age.
Yeah.
And then my parents really pushed me to the sport. It was a team sport, which really helped. I started in the Turkish team.
Were you on the Olympic team?
No, I couldn't. I was gonna go to 2012 London Olympics, but then before that, I decided to stop rowing.
To stop, yeah.
And then just more focusing on the cooking.
And were you rowing fours, twos, fours, eights?
I was rowing 2, 4, and 8.
Wow.
I was rowing the single.
It's the hardest sport I've ever done.
Yeah, it's really fun. And also the Washington.
Yeah, I like that. You say it's the hardest sport. He says it's really fun. What a combo.
I mean, it was fun. It's amazing. I always look at the rowers out on the cut, crossing the Ballard Bridge, because I rowed at Gonzaga, and
Nice.
wow, I mean, it's hard. I ran marathons. It was hard.
It's a hard sport.
Yeah.
This is my first reason to came to the United States. Yeah, in 2009.
Was it?
Yeah, we went to Boston for the head of the Charles race for the competition. So it was like a crazy race with tons of people, just competition. 86 crew was in the race, and we got the 5th place, like a 3-mile long.
Wow.
You passing the bridges, maybe 500,000 people live watching it. So it's a very fun race. That was my first time I got my visa to come to here. Yeah.
You were like, I'm not going back.
Yeah. it took 6 years to move.
Oh.
But, yeah.
And what town did you come from?
I'm from Istanbul.
Istanbul.
Born and
Just
raised
a tiny
Istanbul.
little place.
It's only 20 million people.
I know.
Yeah. It's a big city, beautiful city. I love it more. In the old times when I grew up, it changed dramatically, I think. It just been more metropolitan. But yeah, amazing food, amazing people, really great culture. Yeah, it's a beautiful city.
Super fun. I've never been. Have you been to Istanbul?
I haven't been. You know what? We're going this September for the first
nice.
time.
It's a good
Yeah.
time.
I have
It's
a
nice
good
weather.
friend from there, and
Nice.
so we'll visit him, and we're
Let us know
going
if you-
sailing.
Yeah, sailing.
With Is
Oh.
it a gulak? A gu starts with a G.
It's a
The
G-
type of boat, the Turkish
Oh,
boats that
yeah.
they
Yeah, gulat.
gulak.
Gulat, yeah.
Yep.
It's a big sailboat.
Yeah,
It's like wooden, right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
popular in
it'd be fun.
Turkey.
The only boat I've ever rowed in my life was a dinghy, and I tipped it over. And then the other time I was out, my sister was out in one of those UW canoes, 9 months pregnant. She tips over, and she can't get back in the canoe.
You can't.
She couldn't.
You got to swim in.
No, it was too far out there.
Oh,
They flagged down a passing boat, and they started to pull her up, and they saw her belly, and it was just like, what the hell is going on here? Anyway, let's talk about Hamdi. Let's talk about your cooking experience. So how did you transition from rowing to cooking?
Yeah, I was looking for what's gonna be my future like, and what do I like, and what I want to do. I love to eat in that time, and then start small cooking. My grandfather influenced me, his name is Hamdi. Also, my mom, I got learn things from her, and yeah, I think I was like 15 years old in high school. I wanted to choose my own, and I was thinking my dad pushing me to be an engineer. I'm like. That's not me.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. And then he didn't talk to me for a couple of months, but I said I'm gonna be the cook, I'm gonna be chef, and one day hopefully open my restaurant. And then I start doing my
So
path.
let's stop there for a second, because that's a question I get all the time.
Yeah.
Is like, my kid's really interested in cooking, blah blah blah. Should we send them to culinary school? And I always say to people, get them in a restaurant first. Make sure that
agree.
it's something that can stick, or that it's still interesting after a week or a month in a restaurant. Is that how it stuck for you?
No, I was pretty sure I'm gonna do this, but I definitely agree with how you say that, because a lot of people think that cooking is so fancy,
Glamorous.
it's like on the TVs, but it's not. It's not. For me, especially cooking schools are most of them waste of time. I don't want to offend anybody, but I went to college 5 years. It was a gastronomy and culinary college, and I just had my own time. I didn't learn anything. When I was starting,
And you didn't come out with any debt either, right? That was a paid-for college.
it was a 50% because of the national rowing team. I was in the
Okay.
so I got some scholarship, but it was still pretty expensive. And in that time, there was only 2 schools in Turkey, but this college. So I went to one of them. Now there's millions of them. But I'm the only one probably who's still doing this job in my class.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
So none of them actually go in this path or anything about culinary side. So I definitely agree. I think first you gotta work and stage and see if you're gonna actually like it or not, and then go into that depth. Especially in US, the schools are really expensive.
Right.
Cooking schools. I see a lot of people going to CIA and have to pay a lot of money, and then they ended up with not doing this.
Right. That's my biggest issue with cooking schools, that you just come out buried in debt.
Yeah.
And
To get
cooks jobs
a
until
low
you get
wage.
to the upper echelon, cooks jobs just don't pay a lot.
Don't pay a lot.
So
No.
but they're good training grounds.
Yeah, but I did not learn anything on the school. Whenever I started staging in Istanbul, I started working in the Swiss Hotel, which is one of the biggest hotels in
Wow, that's a nice.
Istanbul.
Yeah, I've
I
heard.
work in the French restaurant on the rooftop, and I work in the oldest Ottoman restaurant in Istanbul, restaurant since 1888.
Wow.
So we were cooking with
It's
only
like your
copper
birth year,
pots.
isn't it, Bridget?
Oh, geez.
Okay,
was-
Tom.
It was a very old school restaurant. There's no, stainless steel pots. There was only round shaped copper pots. So it was very unique techniques, very old school techniques, a lot of preservation, a lot of pickles. There were pickles like from 1930, 1940.
Wow.
It's pretty inspiring restaurant. And also is my dad's childhood restaurant. He was going there with his friends to just to drink soup after school. So it's a very memorable restaurant for us. I started there maybe a year. I just worked free just to learn. Yeah, that's actually made me really love about cooking.
Interesting. You know that you can't do that in Seattle. You can't
Not
stage
anymore.
anywhere
No.
for free.
We get asked every now and again, and I'm.
It's just against the law. Yeah, you have
It's
to
law,
pay at
yeah.
least minimum wage.
It got abused back. I was teaching at the Art Institute, and there were a number of restaurants all over the U.S. that kind of abused it.
Yeah.
You know, they had 4 or 5 main cooks in this fancy restaurant, and all the rest were working for free. Didn't pencil out.
I mean, things are changing. I get it. You know, people have to get paid, but also it was more about passion in the old time. It was also a great opportunity just to go somewhere walking. Hey, I just want to work free here for a couple days, weeks, months. I mean, you know, maybe they don't hire, but also you want to be there to see things, how they operate, how they work. And it's not possible anymore.
What would you call the foundation of Turkish cuisine?
Foundation of Turkish cuisine, I think it's a lot of slow cooking. I can say we don't have much like steak culture, which we try to do in our restaurant. We do beautiful locally raised farm beef, and we dry aging, and then we're cooking on the heart. But mostly we can say high labor, a lot of dedication, and they're like slow cooking. So, which is really, we're having a hard time in the restaurant because all the dishes have really high labor. Also, most of my chefs are not familiar with this cuisine. So this is a
Training.
It's hard training.
Yeah, exactly.
And also the language is different language. And
So,
we wanna
so
make-
do you do a combination then of your
We do.
slow cooking methods? You get going early in the morning, and then
yeah,
you've got the other quick saute items.
yeah. Mostly is ready before service, except whatever gonna fire on the service. But for example, we have mezes.
Right.
Also, we wanted to marinate for a couple days, so we don't like to just cook it, make it, and serve in the same day. We like to serve the next day or the other day.
Right.
Even basically when you do make hummus, taste the hummus today, taste the hummus 2 days later, when everything marinated all together with the spices, garlic, olive oil,
Oh, that's a good
the
tip.
flavor just explodes. A couple days
Ah.
later, even more.
Yeah.
Just like a good soup or
Sure.
pot roast or something. When we come back, let's jump into some of the foundations. I had teased a little bit about
The Pide.
Pida.
Yeah, pide.
Pide.
P-Day.
Yeah.
When we come back, let's talk about that because I think that's a fairly simple idea,
Mhm.
and people can have some fun with it and try out lots of different Turkish
Yeah.
spices and flavors and all that sort of goodness.
Yeah.
When we come back, it's another segment with Burke Gall, owner and chef at Hamdi Restaurant, HAMDI in Freelard, right there on Leary
Leary.
Way in Ballard. So Ballard/Fremont. You're listening to us on Cairo Radio, 97.3 FM. You guys know what you got there? So you got a blueberry muffin. And that blueberry muffin does not look like me. I always ask them to make it look like me so that there's a nice muffin top on there. But I don't see that today. And then you have a Spanish-style tortilla, which is roasted potatoes and onions in a little egg base. You've got ruby chard, where we cook the stems for 5 or 6 minutes in the beginning. Then we add the greens so that everything is edible and delicious. And we finish that with a little bit of our fish taco spice, which is 4 different kinds of mild chilies, lemon and lime crystals. And then on your far right is the chorizo, the Spanish-style garlic chorizo. So if you don't like it, you should probably tell someone who cares. That's just a joke. Terry always loved that joke. I miss Terry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to meet Terry, right? When he was still alive?
Oh yeah. Yeah. He came.
The chef in
I
the chapeau.
He came 3 times. It was close to the end.
Yeah.
I think he was with the oxygen mask.
Yeah.
When he died.
He was
I
talking
had a
about
pleasure to
doing
cook
a
for him.
Turkey trip, wasn't he?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was talking about doing Turkey because he'd gone to Morocco
Yeah.
and he wanted to do
yeah.
He was very
Istanbul and yeah.
He was super sweet.
He's very nice.
Yeah,
man.
he was very nice, and it was
So different from
humble.
Tom. Yeah.
100%. I totally agree with you. Yeah, he didn't have the sass that I have sometimes.
He was
I'm
sweet.
excited when I go because of the bakeries
Let me
in
know.
Istanbul.
I
I
can
will.
also give some recommendation in Istanbul.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
old friend of mine from San Francisco, he doesn't even know yet, but I was like, oh man, I can't wait. All the
Yeah.
the pastries and
Oh yeah,
the borek and the
you'll
Just
gain
the-
a lot.
yeah.
Yeah, you gain a lot. There is a lot of pastry,
Oh
a lot of
man,
bakery. It's just a dough, flour, almost everything.
it's so
Almost
interesting.
everything,
Yeah,
yeah.
such a complex cuisine.
Are you done now? Can we move on to the show? All right, we're back here in the Hot Stove Kitchen with Burke Goodall. He's the chef of and owner of Hamdi Restaurant in Freelard, right there on Leary Way. Burke, we talked a little bit about your background and
Yeah.
your hometown of Istanbul. Let's jump into some of the foods that you're serving.
Yeah.
That, the one that gets me that I think is an easy entry. If you don't know much about Turkish cuisine or the area, the easy entry is pide, which is, say it
People
again.
call Turkish pizza or like pide.
P-I-D-E, right?
Yeah.
But as with all pizza, there's a difference in quality.
Yeah.
And yours is dynamic. And so tell us about how to make the best pita and not P-I-T-A, P-I-D-E, pita. I don't know.
It's all right.
Anyway, tell us about how to kind of get rolling in that area and some other classic kind of Turkish things people can find at your restaurant.
Yeah. So we're not making traditionally 100% Turkish pide. So normally pide is a lot bigger sizes. So we try to keep the size a little smaller so people can try different things. But also it's still pretty filling. We're getting beautiful flour from small family farm, Walla Walla, unbleached. And then we're just making the dough daily. We're using the yeast, dry yeast. And we're making the dough daily. With a fermenting for an hour and then portioning. We bring the dough sheeter from Turkey and then we just like sheet it up the dough, having ready for service. Once the order comes in, we have a parsnip puree, which is we're getting from local farms. Parsnips, we're cooking in our wood fire oven, slowly deglaze with the white wine and then finish it with the cream, reduce it down, and then we turn it into puree. We're using from Eliza white tamari, a little bit liquid shirokouji, a little bit rice vinegar. We're seasoning it up, and then we're using this as a filling. And then we're
Wait, stop there for 1 second. You said you're using koji, as in the inoculated rice culture, koji?
yeah, the liquid shirokouji.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're using for seasoning.
Okay.
A little bit salt, white tamari. We're using rice vinegar, really high quality rice vinegar, and then we're making this puree. And then on the service, we just stretching the dough on the semolina. We fill it up with the puree, and then we put in this Turkish kaşkaval cheese. It's kind of like mozzarella. It's very stretchy, light cheese. And then we put in some brown butter cubes. We're folding. We're giving it like a boat shape, and then we're cooking in 5 minutes in the wood fire oven.
Wow.
Oven is like 800 Fahrenheit. Just feeding with the almond wood, so like super hot, constant fire going inside. 1 minute each side, and then we'll take it out, and then we have a house-made fermented green onions from local farms. We're mixing up with the house-made fermented cabbage, a little bit garlic. We make kind of house-made chimichurri from fermented greens. We put it on this, a little bit pickled parsnips, and then we finish up with the parsnip chips. We fry on the wood fire.
Wow.
And then a little bit Turkish furikake, and then chives. And also we use a little bit grated Greek Gruyere cheese. So it's very complex.
I remember I said we're going to start with something that everyone could make at home. Remember that part?
So easy.
Spaghetti pizza.
Yes, exactly. That's
So
very
it's
funny.
filled and then it comes out warm and it's topped
Comes
and
out-
it's giving
yeah.
crunchy bits
Yeah.
and then off to
Sides
the
are
table.
brushed with the egg yolk. It gets really crispy. That's what we like.
And brown.
Nice and crispy, nice and
Wow.
brown.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like even a little chard on it. It gives really nice flavor. Also, you're getting this flavor from wood fire oven. So I think for me it's super special. And yeah, just take it out of the oven, crispy, feeling.
So technically that boat shape that you made that
Yeah.
comes out of the oven, that's a burek, correct?
No.
Or no?
Burke is different. Burke
Okay.
is like usually super thin dough. It's like folded.
Okay.
You can give different shapes. You can just roll or like fold in like a.
More like
envelope.
phyllo, though. Than,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So this is like still a little thicker.
Uh-huh.
And it's just like giving like a bowl shape. In Turkey, they do like a bigger bowl shapes, or like sometimes they do like a round shapes,
Uh-huh.
exactly like a kind of pizza. They do usually with eggplants, mostly cheese. They put 4 different cheese with herbs, which try to change not seasonally, but a couple times a year. We did eggplant pizza, which I inspired from the Ottoman cuisine. Eggplant, you roasting eggplants, peeling, you're making like a roux, and you mix it up with the roux on the pan, and then you adding some cheese on it, like a stretchy eggplant feeling. We did mushroom with the shiitake mushrooms with the mushroom puree in it, but the most recent one is the parsnip.
The parsnips.
Parsnip
Wow.
pita, yeah.
Sounds
The,
great.
When I have seen them made, you roll out the dough into a kind of a long oval.
Yeah.
You kind of put your filling on whatever it happens to be. It can be anything. You could be roasted cauliflower. It could be ground lamb, and then you kind of roll up the sides into this boat shape, canoe shape.
Yeah.
Kind
Got
of look to it.
Yeah.
And
So-
then do you put that on a semolina board like you would a pizza?
Yeah.
To kind of
Slide
slide,
it
it into
in.
the oven.
Yeah, we have a shovel, just sprinkle some semolina, stretch it up on it, give the shape, fill it up, and then cook in the top shelf of the wood fire oven.
Nice.
Or
And-
in our house, or here we would do it on the pizza stone.
Pizza.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
getting the oven as hot as you can get it.
Yeah.
Got it. So we Americans think of pita, Pita. Is that puffy flatbread?
Puffy flat-
Is that considered
No,
pide?
no, it's different.
Totally different.
Yeah,
Okay.
pita is like a pita bread. When
And do
you're
you
sharing.
is that in the Turkish cuisine?
Not fully. We call usually lavash. We have the thinner one.
And it's a flatbread.
It's a flatbread. We serve with the kebab, which is our signature dish.
Okay.
Usually,
I've seen it photos of that
Yeah, yeah, it's our baby.
where they carve and it drops onto the bread
Yeah,
and they put stuff on top and roll it up.
roll up. Yeah.
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 I'm getting hungry, Tom.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of cuisines like very similar to each other. They like burrito, lavash. Especially, I found a lot of similarities in Mexican cuisine and Turkish cuisine.
Awesome.
So that's really inspiring.
And that pide bread, is that kind of a universal recipe? Is it
No.
like pita in that it has
I mean, there's a
yogurt
million.
and olive oil in the dough?
No, it's super simple. Just salt, a little bit sugar, flour, and yeast.
Oh.
There's no yogurt. There's no anything. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a
But
million
you can play.
cultures in Istanbul.
Yeah.
And so what is the dominant? Is it all Arabs?
No,
No.
Arabs are actually most recently start being dominant.
Okay.
Maybe in past 5 years, probably the economical situations or maybe the policy. But usually in Istanbul in the old time, there's a lot of Armenian people who were living.
Armenian.
Yeah, Turkish people. 90s, a lot of Kurdish people started moving to Istanbul. I can say like all around the, all the ethnicities. That's what makes the Turkey is really beautiful.
Right.
You can see Jewish people, you can see Christian people, you can see Muslim people. And my grandmother was inspiring by all these cuisines. She was learning, the pastry stuff from Jewish people. She was learning Greek from Greeks, meza culture. And then like Turks are more like kebab, meat, grilled stuff.
Ah.
Yeah, so that's what makes it really beautiful, this country.
What are those houses called that you go to in Turkey? The meat kind of kebab type restaurant starts with a D.
The Doner kebab? No, that's
Oh,
German.
Doner kebab
Doner.
That's German.
Well,
It's
that's what they
called-
call them in Germany. Is
In
Doner
Germany,
kebab.
yeah. Doner, same.
Doner
It
is-
means spinning. Yeah, it's or they call gyro here.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing.
Because I've heard that those are the fancy restaurants in Istanbul, and the fancy kind of French style restaurants are newer in terms of either it's the braised tradition or it's the meat tradition, but it's generally not both. Is that correct?
It's doner is usually like street food.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually like easy pickup when you go to work or like when you have a lunch. You can have a quick inside the bread or sometimes like a pita bread.
Uh-huh.
You can just have it like sandwich.
Okay, we only
Not
have
like
1
the
minute
French.
left, so you have to
Yeah.
tell us if we've inspired you to check out Hamdi Restaurant, Hamdi. What should people order? What
What people
two
order?
things can't they miss?
Kebab,
Kebab,
pide. If you're too hungry, I will definitely recommend the steaks.
steaks.
Yeah.
One of the gorgeous things about your restaurant, it's a very beautiful restaurant, but I love that wood fire kitchen that you have.
Thank you so much.
It's spectacular, and you walk right into it and you go, "Oh my God, this is going to be good."
Thank you.
And
All
when
right,
are you open?
We open 2022 November.
And so you're like Wednesday through Sunday?
We Thursday through Sunday.
Thursday through Sunday. Good for you. You have a life.
We should shout out to their Instagram. It's beautiful at Hamdi Seattle. You should all start following for beautiful, delicious
it.
photos.
Thank you
Well,
so
I better
much.
make a reservation.
Mhm.
Just
All right, coming up in the next hour, Margo Flanes is here. She is from Big John's PFI and granddaughter of the founder, Mr. Big John, on Cairo Radio. It's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM. Thank you, Burke.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thanks for
nice
the
to meet you.
invitation.
Take care.
Nice to meet you all.
Oh, you leave us alone, Missy.
Yeah. Thank you, Taylor.
Nice to meet you. My card. It'd be great to get you for a class.
All right, see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
How's breakfast? Good. Hit the spot.
I think I'm okay.
Yeah, good.
Oh,
Okay. Is that good?
You must hear news stories about your grandfather every day.
Oh, yeah.
He was a feisty one, that guy.
He was a character.
You know who he reminded me of always was Paul Prudhomme.
Oh,
Because John would just kind of hold court. He'd kind of sit there.
Yes, that's a great way to describe it.
And he had two gorgeous ladies, one on each side of him. And this one had a pile of chopped onions, and this one had a pile of chopped peppers. And he had a big mountain of butter and a sauteed pan. He was 4 feet wide, 4 feet tall. And he was just looking at this lady and say, "Oh, pepper, oh, butter." And they would just put stuff in his pants, and he'd just sit there and shake his pants. It was the funniest thing. I've recently returned to his book for the first time in many, many years. I did a couple of dinners inspired by that. It's super fun cooking.
Yeah, Paul.
There's no lack of fat in that food.
Cool.
Oh my God.
Okay, my dear, what do we have for these folks out there that they're getting now? They just had breakfast, so now they're having their cheese course.
Yeah, now they're having cheese.
Mm.
I was kind of indecisive, so we have a couple different ones to try. Starting, I don't know how they're.
Don't you love that when
shaped.
people walk into your store and they're indecisive and they walk out with 10 times more cheese than they ever needed to
Yeah. Okay. So on the left at 9 o'clock, there with there's little pieces that's fennel in your cheese. That is called Campi di Fennel, and it's a buffalo's milk cheese. There are these brothers up in Lombardy that do 16 different. Okay, but they can hear me. Okay, I'll talk here because I'm quiet. But so this is a buffalo milk cheese with fennel. Yes, and you could put there's some different jams I think on different plates. If you could try it with any of them. If you have an orange one, I would definitely try that with the fennel. Then there's a little chocolate. We have at our shop just a bunch of little jars of chocolates. Just bought one of those. Next one is a sheep cheese, pecorino, they call it in Italy. It's washed in balsamic and Jupiter berries and then aged in oak barrels. So it's kind of a modern production. And that one is kind of dry. You'd probably want to shave that on a salad or soup or something like that. Then we've got, yes, that is a 24-month Comté. And French cheese, I brought that because Donna, our manager, said it's just at peak. Like, this is the cheese to get right now. Yeah, yeah. And then the last one, yeah, melt or eat. And then the blue cheese is called Grand Noir. If you're familiar with Cambozola, it's the same people that do that, but they add more cream to this one. So it's almost like a triple cream blue cheese. And then the jams are from Blake Hill. There's a cherry, a fig, and an orange.
Yum. I get into trouble down there. Oh my God. And I went to your Christmas party and I think I spent, I don't know, $100 on chunks of cheese going, oh, this will be great. But we're here at Hot Stove working our keisters off. There it sits in the fridge and I'm like, oh my God. And so it had white mold on most of them still. And I like ran over to my girlfriend's because we were leaving for Christmas. And I'm like, you got to take these and eat them.
Margo, am I pronouncing your name correctly? Flanes?
Flanes.
Okay. You're like dessert.
And I love these
You're a little
too.
flan.
Yes, exactly.
These are, you didn't talk about these.
She did. She called them chocolates.
Oh no, they're
There's little
so
chocolates
good.
in
They're specifically
They are
from,
all over Italy, those things.
Yes.
well, mostly in Piemonte from Torino, right? Aren't they specifically
So,
from there?
practice with me on the, stay right on top
Oh,
of that
yes.
microphone.
Is that
okay?
a good
Yep, that's
sound?
perfect.
Okay.
All right, we're back for hour number 2 of the Hot Stove Society show on Cairo Radio. We've got tons of fun coming your way. Mangoes, Eliza Ward's here from Chef Shop. Margo Flanes is here from Big John's PFI. We're going to talk about cheese. And of course, we're going to wrap up the show with food for thought, tasty trivia. Excited for that.
Yeah.
I haven't won in a while, Amy. I'm counting on you to make my life better.
Okay, got it.
Okay. While Becky is traversing the slopes of Hokkaido. Margo, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
As I mentioned earlier, I was a fan and friend of your grandfather.
Yes.
I didn't, but at the same time, I had met the Merlino family way before I met him. And so I was ensconced in Merlinoville. So I was never a big PFI person, Big John's PFI, Pacific Food Importers.
Correct. Yeah.
But Bridget was. You were always
huge. Yeah. Just
I've been to the retail store.
A devotee.
Yeah.
Thank you.
A devotee, because they were in the old space behind the immigration building.
Yeah. Right.
Literally, if you had a good arm and could chuck a rock over the immigration building, you'd hit the building they were in that parking lot.
I'm sure they'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
Where are you now, Margo?
We are now on Rainier and Dearborn, right on the corner there.
There's a new building right there. Is that the one that you're in?
Yeah.
We've been there for 5 years already this spring. But nice location, windows. Everyone still laments the loss of the old space. But it kind of had a cool vibe, like a cellar kind of vibe. Well, so now we have windows and air control, flat floors,
Yeah, you used to have to put a jacket on to walk through.
Exactly, yeah. We would wear hats and big coats when we worked too.
Well, and you could come ripping right up, and there was parking right at the door.
Yeah.
And you could just
you
blast
cannot find that in Seattle anymore.
Oh man, we were having a dinner party. You could pick up just big, beautiful chunks of cheese.
Did you just drive up in your Alfa Romeo?
No, my little Miata.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that same kind of thing. And it was amazing because you guys had, I don't know, it seems like the inventory was a bit bigger at the old warehouse.
We definitely had a little bit more square footage. I think that our inventory kind of ebbs and flows based on, we always have the classics, but what are people buying and what are people cooking at home?
Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
You've brought us a lovely little cheese tray, which is kind of what I would suggest when people go to a place like PFI or do you call it Big John's PFI still?
Yeah,
or just
you
PFI?
could call it either.
Yeah. Let's one of the house folks help you build a cheese platter, because it's not just like, oh, I love Latour and I love Pecorino, right? There's a balance to a perfect cheese platter.
Yes, and the cheesemongers will also know what's really good right now. Like I brought a 24-month Comté, and the reason I brought it,
bomb. I just tried it.
Yes, it's got those little crystals in it, and the reason I brought it is because our store manager Donna was just like, "You have to try this today. It's so good right now. Bring it." And those are the little tidbits people will try. And also, if you walk in, we have 30 feet of cheese,
Right?
So you can get intimidated really quickly. But we also let you taste before you buy. So if you come in and ask questions and try things, you can often find what you're looking for, what you want to serve.
Mm-hmm.
And fun. And they're knowledgeable about the season, and like, we just got this pecorino in from Italy and it's like so soft. That's when you get into trouble, Tom.
And we all have our favorites too, and they'll kind of rotate like what you're excited about and like
what's tasting really good right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. The other night I was at what I consider one of the best wine bars in the world, not just Seattle. It's certainly the best one in Seattle, but in the world, La Caviste. And it's over there on 7th, just a couple of blocks from here. But he said that their special that night was this particular brie. And I was like, I'm not really a brie guy, because brie has been so bastardized. So we ordered it because he said to order it. He said it's really tasting great right now. It was over the top. It was like a brie I've never had before. And I immediately said, "Where did you buy this?" And I want to buy more. And there's a couple of things that were right? One is temperature. It was perfectly served at the perfect temperature. And it was aged beautifully. And it was kept out of humidity so that the crust, the little mold crust is what's on top of that white mold.
Yeah.
It became a little crispy, and it added texture to the brie, and it was perfect. And I would imagine the same thing happens at PFI, where you can really dial it in.
Yeah, especially most of all with the soft cheeses, but with all the cheeses, the flavors do change as they sit there. And so the cheesemongers are tasting them all the time, and they will call out, "This is ripe and ready to go. Sell this today. You eat it today." Or maybe they might even say, "If it's for the weekend, don't buy this today.
Right.
Buy it to eat now," or something like that.
Huh. Yeah.
I love a good stinky cheese. I think the hardest thing to find in Seattle is a perfectly ripe Epoisse.
Yes.
It's just, I buy them a month or two before I want to eat them, and they're still not ripe enough for me.
And even when we get Epoisse, it seems to just fly out the door.
Right. Same with the robiolas.
Yeah.
The robiolas are specific season thing, and you get the little forms, and holy tamale. So good. Yeah.
But yes, you want to have your cheese also at probably room temperature. You don't want to eat it just out of the fridge. You won't get the full complexity.
So do you like
flavor.
a neutral cracker with your cheese plate? I mean, you have 4 different cheeses on here, and a chocolate and a cracker.
Yeah,
and jam.
I vary. Depends on what kind of cheese and what you have. I often eat cheese just without cracker.
Right.
But Tiroli, I think, are really good. If you haven't had Tiroli, they're little, I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like a dense breadstick in a little tiny loop, like a little ring. And that density goes perfectly with wine or cheese. You might not eat them in the same bite, but it's
a good
provides contrast. Bite, yeah. So I just brought some Tiroli because it kind of goes with any cheese, really.
Right.
And
love it. And then you said this was I'm a gorgonzola nut. Okay. And of course picante, dolce. I mean, it comes in all different things. This particular gorgonzola just was creamy as could be. So
or this is actually like a cambazola. So it's a German blue cheese, but there's cream added to it, so it's extra creamy. You might call this kind of a gateway blue cheese. If a lot of people say they don't like blue cheese or they're afraid
to try it. I call it cheater cheese. A cheater cheese.
It's rich and creamy. And
because you guys have the bleu d'Auvergne. Yes. Whenever I'm doing cheese boards, but I'll get this one next.
Yeah,
the bleu d'Auvergne is a little more mellow, so people don't freak out on the
I'm more of a Stilton person. I love a good aged Stilton.
Yeah. I'm more of a gateway blue person.
And so then you guys also have charcuterie. You've got that little fridge around the corner with the charcuterie next to the wine.
Yes. And we also slice salami, prosciutto, speck. Mortadella is our biggest seller.
Oh,
the
that's
nice
true.
get the thin mortadella.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites.
The key with pistachio or
with pistachio. 100%. We sometimes also carry one with truffle. But I'm more of a traditionalist with my mortadella.
Yeah. It's interesting with the new store because at the old store, it was just all the same stuff. And I'd go because you guys have all the olives in bulk. And it was awesome, So if you brought your own container, they'd weigh the olives and then put them in your container and then fill them with brine. So you had this container that you had in the fridge. They were perfect, And you guys have 12 olives or so, 10 or 12
Probably
olives?
15.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we do feta too, where you can
the Bulgarian feta and
You can still bring the food service laws have kind of changed a little bit where it's complicated, but you can still bring a container and I can give you some brine to take home. And when you get home, you can put what you want in your brine.
Okay, yeah.
So it's still kind of like that.
Right. And your freezer section is great too, because I could get the chunks of the Molinari pancetta. Nice big chunks of that ready to go. And my friends, the Armeninos, with their pesto. Don't buy the pesto at Costco. Sorry, Costco. Buy the Armenino pesto. It's so good. And my tip is it's a big bucket. You don't want it to go bad. And so my friend said, just slack it out a little bit and then use a chef knife and cut chunks and just wrap them and store them in the freezer.
Oh, there you
Margo,
go.
Very
can you tell us about the cheese of the month and how we can sign up?
Oh, yes. So we did this year in January, we launched a Cheese of the Month club for our customers. You can subscribe on the website, bigjohnspfi.com. It's $45 per month, and you get 2 cheeses, preserve or some kind of a accoutrement, and crackers in a box, and you can pick it up in the store, or you can have it
shipped?
delivered if it's Seattle and kind of surrounding east side, surrounding suburbs. And we are doing one of the cheeses is a new cheese to us that has not been behind the counter yet, and then the other one will be just a favorite that people are liking right now.
Fun. Do we know what the January or February cheeses were?
The January one, I ran out, unfortunately, but it was a Belgian cheese, kind of like a Gouda, but in the middle was a layer of coffee grounds.
Oh.
And I don't know if I would call it, my favorite cheese, but it was really interesting. And you sat there,
fun.
have a piece of cheese with a cup of coffee. That's kind of odd for us here, but it was kind of fun,
Well, that's the whole idea, is right? Try things you've never tried before. Yeah.
So I think that's the fun thing with the Cheese Club. You can subscribe monthly, or I've got 3-month chunks that you can sign up for.
Very fun. That's a great gift.
Too. Yeah.
Margo Flanes has been our guest from Big John's PFI over at Dearborn and Rainier Avenue. And up next, we're going to talk a little bit about mangoes, because I've been in mango country for the last 2 weeks.
Thanks.
Cairo Radio, it's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
You want your mom to come up too? She's like, no.
Come on, Mom. What the hell?
I'll take it.
So come on up.
Pretend like you like us.
Thank you guys. Thanks.
So,
Hey, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Ask
Take
Elijah.
care. We'll see you. Oh, yeah, come on. Next Friday.
what was your favorite cheese? Comté?
Gateway blue cheese is pretty good.
Yeah, it's a perfect term for it.
Jesus.
What about them?
So good.
And we're back here in the Hot Stove Kitchens on Cairo Radio at the Hotel Andra, downtown Seattle. Thank you for joining us on this lovely Thursday morning. If you're watching on YouTube, or you can listen to us all weekend long on Cairo, or podcast at a time of your choice. I listened to us on the treadmill the other day.
Oh, that's cute.
Oh,
Super fun.
you're exercising, huh?
I've always exercised.
When I
Why do
started
you look
at
at
the
me like
company,
that?
no comment. No, but I must say, when I started at the company, it was kind of fun because you had that treadmill desks in the office.
That was not fun.
I liked it. You get a little dizzy. I get a little motion sickness trying to work on the computer.
Aren't you going to Istanbul? when are you leaving?
Not till September.
Let's talk mangoes.
Let's talk mangoes. Why not?
Oh, I love mangoes.
That's the velvet tone of Amy Richardson.
Hello.
Sitting in for Becky today on the producer chair. You did this for a bit. What, 6 months when COVID first hit?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. It was your only option.
Actually, it wasn't quite then because Madeline was doing it at that time.
Yep. And then she left us.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We FaceTime with Madeline, one of our old producers
was
this
that
morning. Yeah.
Who you were talking to? They
Mhm.
moved. They left Seattle too.
They're in
right?
Walla Walla now.
Mhm.
Does she like it?
She loves
Who cares?
it. Oh.
She's dead to me.
I know you. Yeah. Anyway. Okay.
I will talk to her children once in a while.
Oh, really?
And to her husband. But her, Maddie,
Yeah,
no way.
We're
Can't
done
leave.
with her.
We're
Can't
done with
leave
her.
to TDR.
All right, let's talk mangoes. Having just come back from Hawaii, I, like you, don't make a lot of tropical salsas, but over there, they seem to fit beautifully.
Yeah.
And especially when in the house that I rent every year has banana trees, mango trees,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
and lemons, and what else is out there?
That
Coconuts.
Sounds like a dump.
It's just a fruity place.
Yeah. Sounds amazing.
Well,
Well,
in fact, they
and-
have such nice bananas that now this last year they put up a security cam
Wow.
on their banana tree, and they put up a sign next to the camera. Stop stealing our bananas!
Nice.
oh no way!
Yeah.
Like folks from the neighborhood,
I guess so.
they scope it out, and if the
Well-
house is not inhabited by guests,
Have you seen a banana tree?
Yeah.
And literally the size of the blossom, like a huge banana blossom, and then that turns into this thing that drops maybe 2 or 3 feet deep,
Right.
and then bananas, boom, 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 boom.
Right,
So
but
there might be 100 bananas.
Are they those
on one.
short, delicious bananas
These
that they have?
these
in-
ones are shorter. Yeah.
Oh God, those
the-
are so good.
Do you know the name of the classic banana that we're all used to that's in trouble?
I knew it once. I don't remember.
Cavendish.
Cavendish.
Banana is the one that's having some
The little
problems because worldwide it's been monocultured to death basically.
Oh.
And so when a disease hits it, you can't fend off the disease.
Oh.
So there's some issues. There's some blights going on with the Cavendish banana, which by the way is the number one weight or poundage weight fruit sold in the world is the Cavendish banana.
amazing. Yeah.
Mangoes are like number 3 or 4, which is a bit surprise to me. But when you go to Southeast Asia and India and places like that, Bangladesh, they're full of mangoes.
Mm.
Lots of mangoes.
Well, and one thing that I didn't know about mangoes, I mean I did, but I didn't, is like there's a very specific season for mangoes. And so when you talk to somebody, they're like, oh, it's not the season. And I'm just like, what? They're like,
well, I would argue that it's the same with oranges or anything else, but that season moves with the area of the world. You know, our orange season moves across the country from Florida to Texas to California, Arizona, and they just come up to the market just like strawberries do or cherries do, right?
right,
California always beats us by a month to 6 weeks of all these fresh fruits.
right.
And that's important in the cycle because we don't want our cherries coming out from Washington the same time the California cherries are coming out. They're just too massive and drops the price.
Yeah, here in Seattle, we get so many different mangoes because they're coming
I'm just
out
talking
of
about
different.
how timing of fruits and
Yeah.
varieties of fruits.
Right.
Right. So there's plenty of varieties of mangoes too. So
So many.
So what do you like to do? You said tropical fruit salsas, and I was making some mahi with a mango / pineapple salsa. So what do you like to do with them?
Well, I do love the green mangoes, not super green, but quite firm, peeled, and then you run them on a mandolin for a salad, like
Those
the
are
Vietnamese.
really green. Yeah.
Yeah, for like a Vietnamese style
Yeah,
salad.
love it.
And And then if they get a little too far, then I like to peel them and pull that flesh off and make a puree. And it's easy to make smoothies out of that because you can just don't let your fruit over ripen. Just dice it up and chuck it into a Ziploc bag, and it's in the freezer for the rest. Just like blueberries, we do blueberries here, but in Hawaii, frozen mangoes are great.
One of the things that I think people don't think about a little bit, like when I make my sambals, let's say I'm making Southeast Indian or Bangladesh kind of sambals with lots of spice, peanuts. I use dried mangoes because they hold their texture,
delicious,
right?
Yeah.
A lot of times when you put a fresh mango into a salsa like that, it wants to break down from the acids in your salsa. But in a sambal with just chili paste, dried mango, it's like mango chutney, right? It's typically with.
Do you cut it up? Do you like cut it
into a little bite size because it doesn't break down any more than that, right? So, but it will soften. And I always have dried mangoes around, and I find
That's
myself
a good idea.
cooking with them quite often.
Well, and they just disappear at home. They're so nice to munch on as a snack. And then it's interesting just working here at Hot Stove with Annie. She's a Vietnamese descent, it's Southeast Asian, and every now and again she'll come in with some other varietal of mango, and it's like, wow, now what is this? Because Wajimai often will get different varietals in, so we get exposed to it. But yeah, over in Hawaii,
Annie is too cheap to shop at Wajimai. I guarantee she's not getting them there. Yeah, you know that. She's the cheapest person I know.
Oh, well,
which is fantastic when it comes to her
food costs are amazing. Yeah, exactly. So the mangoes that we see here in the States, over here in Seattle, we see, what are the big ones called? Do you know?
Well, if you're talking about the green mango, which I often make a Vietnamese green mango with fish sauce, little serrano chili, crispy toasted shallots. I just make that classic kind of nuoc cham. Toss the green mango in it and serve it with a skewer of lemongrass pork or lemongrass chicken, something like that. That to me is a great green mango salad. Other mangoes I generally just use when they're ripe. So, and then the other way I like to do them is I'll take them and I'll cut them across. I'll make a whole cheek. You know what a cheek is on a mango? So a mango's kind of got that little oval stone in the middle. You cut the whole cheek off of that stone, and you turn it over and you crisscross the meat that's in that cheek.
Right. You see those at the buffets in Hawaii. Right.
And then you put sugar on top, like a palm sugar or something, and caramelize it with a torch. And it makes a beautiful kind of bruleed mango.
Oh, that'd be good. We could do that in the broiler, right?
And serve that with a little coconut sorbet, or even with just a sprinkle of coconut vinegar on top, to go against that sweet mango.
Right.
Super delicious.
Yeah, and I tend to like mangoes more savory, like mango desserts, coming up in culinary school and working for some of those Frenchies, they like the sweeter mango to use as a Bavarian or to use as a sauce, and not my favorite. I like your idea of those more savory, delicious flavors.
Eliza's coming on from Chef Shop in the next segment, and she has mango chutneys. And I think
a
lot of people's first taste of mango is often in like Major Gray's chutney or some sort of version of that.
Which is definitely savory, and they're fermented usually, right?
I just had some Patek, Patek, I believe, which is a popular brand at the grocery store. Patek mango chutney on lamb chops when I was in Hawaii.
Right. And so when folks are buying mangoes, I mean, you can get them at the store, and it's nice to get them when they're perfectly ripe.
And you touch them like you touch an avocado. If they have just that little touch of
bit of give, they're ready to go.
Yeah.
But don't
or they will be ready. I mean, they'll last a week on your counter still.
Right. But yeah, if they start to go, then they get brown on the inside.
I've not seen that.
On some of the bigger ones, if you space it and like, oh, I meant to eat this. I mean, if you're not ready to eat it, put it in the fridge. It'll stop the ripening process. But if you leave them on the counter, they'll start to get a bit of funk and kind of get dark.
Didn't know. She's the owner of chefshop.com and Chef Shop over on Elliott there. I used to say right next to the Seattle Fencing Club, but that has moved a block away.
Oh, right.
So
I know.
We're not going to use that landmark.
There's that
anymore.
brewery, right?
Holy Mountain Brewery.
That's
there,
it,
too.
right?
All right, when we come back, that's what's coming up on Cairo Radio. It's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM. Hello. You have
Perfect.
examples. Did you have anyone cook these? Well, it's too late now.
Yes.
What's that?
Okay.
Oh, for no.
Yeah, they're all on. Yeah, because I'm short. I'm short. Okay.
Yeah, I do.
I love looking at your little tray.
You know, it's funny. Yeah. And this one, I usually move it around.
Wow. You each got some spaghetti? Holy smokers.
Bigoli.
Wow.
That's
Bigoli,
nice.
which is just Venetian spaghetti.
It's so good though.
Yeah, same thing. A little bit bigger.
Huh?
A little bit bigger than spaghetti, but bigoli.
Bigoli nobili?
This is when we do the carbonara class with Doug, we go down to Chef Shop and buy this. Because you gotta
It's
have the
perfect
good
for a
spaghetti.
carbon- I know, right?
You gotta have the right stuff.
Thanks for sharing that. All right, here it is. Only 2 segments to go on the Hot Stove Society Show. We're here at the Hot Stove Kitchens in downtown Seattle. It's Thursday morning, so we're taping this weekend show. If you ever want to join us, just go to hotstovesociety.com and buy a ticket. Get breakfast, get a little taste of this and that. We had a cheese board today on top of everything else. Lovely. Eliza, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Frequent visitor here to the Hot Stove, bringing deliciousness from Elliott Avenue.
Yep.
Over there
shop.
on the west side of Queen Anne. So if you keep going west after your shop, you're in Elliott Bay.
Yeah, well, you have to go right over the railroad tracks first.
Yeah, exactly.
Right there at the
There is a flyover, so it's not totally
the
unreasonable.
Magnolia Bridge, right?
We walk through the grocery store these days, and it used to be that you had your choice of the fanciest pasta was De Cecco, and then you had the Mission or some sort of American-made semolina pasta.
Yeah.
And now when I walk into your shop, I'm befuddled.
Oh,
because
well, you shouldn't be befuddled.
Well, I think of walking into your shop like you're going to have the best of everything
Of course.
because that's what you do. And so when I see 5 different spaghettis in your shop, what the heck am I supposed to do?
Ah,
And so typically here at the hot stove, we have a tasting panel. We buy them all, we taste them all next to each other, and then we make a call. So how do you decide at the grocery store or at your shop when one costs $5 and the other costs $20? When do you and how do you decide to pay the money?
yeah, exactly. It's hard. You look at the packaging, and that's pretty much all you have to go on.
But you don't eat the packaging.
I know, right? But you can't taste it in the store. So what are you going to do? So yeah, I mean, there's a couple things, right, that you think about. Of course, we're talking about dried pasta specifically, not fresh pasta. Dried pasta has a great sort of noble history and changed the world in so many ways. As
It's so
Christopher
true.
Columbus went around the world with their dried pasta because the Italians wouldn't leave Italy without their pasta. And there's a couple things to look for beyond the shape. Of course, the shape is important, but for the most part, the recipe is going to dictate the shape. And there's sort of categories of shapes, and some people get very specific about what they want, but there's a lot of substitutability in there. So if it calls for a cittata or some kind of long pasta, spaghetti is going to be fine. So within the category, it's easy to substitute. You may not want to go outside the category, but the shape is probably number one. And that, for the most part, everybody knows when they walk into the grocery store. But you're there and you're like, I need to get a spaghetti. Which one do I choose?
Mm-hmm.
The first thing you want to look for, if you care about flavor and texture, which I would argue you should care about flavor and texture. Flavor is always my number one mantra, right? Is the type of wheat and the quality of the wheat that's used. I mean, pasta only has 2 ingredients, wheat and water. And so the quality of the wheat is going to make a huge difference. And what you want to look for, first and foremost, is a hard durum wheat. The hard durum wheat is what is going to give you that nice al dente texture that you're looking for. Without the durum wheat, if it's just a plain wheat, you're not going to get that texture, and it may not even hold together when you cook it.
So the hard durum is what we know of as semolina here in the States, right?
No,
No.
semolina just
No,
means
it's
flour.
different. Yeah.
Ah,
So you want
in
to look
Italy.
for, in Italy, you look for a durum wheat semolina or a durum wheat. And I would argue you want to look for a durum wheat that's actually grown in Italy. Not just
Correct.
because it's more sustainable, but because they will grow the variety of wheat specifically for the pasta. And really good producers like Scambata that I have up here, the Bigoli and the Linguini that I have up here, they actually mostly focused on freshness, flavor, and sustainability. They only buy wheat within like 25 kilometers of the pasticceria where they make it, and they hold the wheat in a whole grain, and then they grind it fresh for the pasta. And so that's going to maximize your flavor as well as the texture, that al dente texture that you get. So they have been making, of course, dry pasta for centuries. And so they know what works best, and they're focused on that quality.
Mhm.
And where is that?
It's
But-
up in Venice,
Ah.
Veneto area. So, so I've actually, you guys are all going to get a box of pasta. On there, you're going to see that the cooking time for the Bigoli, which is that third one here, is 12 minutes. But the Venetians, they like that al dente texture. Like, they love that al dente texture. So I would cook it more than 12 minutes because otherwise it's practically raw on the inside.
I
And
cooked
that's a
some
very-
for a class, and it was pretty funny because everybody was like, the pasta was underdone, and I go, no, it was perfect.
Yeah.
Because it not quite crunch, but darn
yeah,
near.
well, those Venetians like it that way.
Yeah.
So the first thing, right, is the hard durum semolina, ideally from grown in Italy. It also helps, stay away from that sort of eating downstream from the glyphosate issue that you may be getting from wheats that are grown here. So you're just better off that way. And like I said, it's going to go for the highest quality.
And the Italians are very strict about pesticides and stuff, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're just better way to go. Then so that's you also want to look for a air dried pasta. So in the production process, at the very end of the process, they're going to dry the pasta to make it dried pasta, right? The commercial producers are going to bake that pasta to dry it faster, but you really want to air dried pasta because that baking process can also impact the flavor of the
In
pasta.
the natural air, not with blowers and
Or baking it in like an
ovens.
oven, exactly. So that's going to help maintain that flavor. But the most important thing, so you have to understand that pasta has a function, right? Its main function is to get that sauce from the bowl into your mouth. Right? And we've all had that experience, right? Where you have a bowl of pasta and you eat the pasta and all the sauce is left in the bowl. You don't want that. And there's a main reason there is a one specific reason why that happens. And it has to do with the manufacturing process. Very important. Artisan producers, so pasta is an extruded product, which means they take the wheat in the water and they make it into a dough and they push it through a die with a hole in it. And that hole dictates.
Like a meat grinder, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. And that hole is going to dictate the shape of the pasta. Artisan producers will use a die that's made out of bronze. Commercial producers will use dies made out of Teflon, and they do that so that they can extrude the pasta faster. And because time is money, right? So what happens if you extrude it through bronze, it leaves a rough surface to the surface of the pasta, which gives the sauce something to stick to. Where if you extrude it through that Teflon, it's going to be perfectly smooth. There's no way that sauce is going to stick to your pasta. But of course, that process is slower, and so the pasta becomes more expensive. So that's really the key.
That is cool.
If you feel that last pasta, so I put the pastas out here for you guys to feel more than anything. And the very first one, it doesn't even indicate that it is hard durum wheat or where that wheat comes from, right? The very first one. So that's the least expensive pasta that I found at the grocery store. And that's classic, perfectly smooth. Where if you get to the last one
feels like sandpaper.
Yeah, and that is that's Gentile, and that is from Napoli. So historically, pasta, the original dried pasta, the commercially produced pasta, started in Napoli and eventually it made its way up to Genoa, which is the center of trade. And then suddenly pasta went all over the world, right, with the Italian sailors. So that is a Naples pasta at the end. And that's
which
nice
it's so delicious. I eat it plain, drizzled with fresh olive oil.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? If you have a really good pasta, you don't need to put much on it.
You don't, yeah. It was funny that where I worked in Italy, they had a version of this. They used to get the Latini pasta, which isn't around anymore, and it's very similar. And so they say lesce, just how do you want your pasta, Bridget? How should we make the pasta for dinner? And they'd look at me and they go, plain. And I'm like, yeah, every night I'd have just plain pasta with extra virgin olive oil.
And did you put salt on too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little salt, or maybe sometimes I'd splurge and put a little cheese on there, but just the pasta plain. Wow. I mean, it's so delicious.
You know, the Parmesan, it's like Italian comfort food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cacio e pepe is the hot one these days, right?
So
Which is really a good way if you want to try pastas next to each other. It's the simplest way of eating it, and it's a nice way to try it.
Yeah, and honestly, so the pasta I gave you guys is my favorite pasta in our shop. And it's mostly because the flavor is the best flavor of all the pastas that we sell.
And that's the Bigoli, Bigoli, Nobili, Nobili. So,
but it doesn't require much because it has so much flavor. And I'm not a big pasta eater because I'm a little gluten intolerant. But when I do eat pasta, that's the pasta I'm going to eat.
And it doesn't bother you, does it?
No, it doesn't bother me, but I don't eat a huge bowl either. But my sort of view on it is that if I'm going to eat pasta, which I do infrequently, I'm going to eat the best pasta that's out there.
Yeah. Yeah. And is that your most expensive brand? Tom, you were talking about a 20.
Yeah.
I was just kind of given a window of from
so
Berea, B-A-R, the Berea, which is probably the most common that you see now.
Right.
All the way up to this, what do you call that? Gentile?
So
Gentile.
the Bigoli is, I think, $11.95. So that's our most expensive pasta.
So it's my understanding that the Barilla pasta now is made with American wheat, and they have plants here in the United States. So
nothing wrong with that. We
grow
a lot of that wheat right here in the Northwest.
But it used to have a better reputation, and with the Italians, it doesn't anymore because they ship American wheat to Italy now, and
and often it's shipped in the form of flour, which is the worst part, right? Because and once you grind that wheat into flour, it will start to go rancid or start to go stale.
You really
it gets stale. Yeah, in months.
We use a lot of that local wheat right up from
different
Tarrant Springs,
different
Bellingham,
Fairhaven, and
that's great to make fresh pasta. Yeah, there's a lot of restaurants around here who will get wheat from up north in Snohomish. They do a really great job and make their fresh pasta from it.
Yeah. I'm more of when I make fresh pasta, I'm more of an AP flour type person. I like that kind of soft, quick cook, soft bite, delicious.
And you put egg in your
Yeah, and I make raviolis and things like that. So
rolled pastas.
Are you going to stay for a little trivia?
Sure.
Is that right?
If a trivia is about pasta, maybe I'll be able to.
That sounds like you could do just fine on a pasta trivia challenge. But I don't know. I don't know. Taylor is the one.
Well, lots of ingredients at Chef Shop.
test.
She might, kick our
All right,
teeth
Chef
through-
Shop is at, I have it right here, don't I? It's at 1425 Elliott Avenue West in downtown Seattle. And if you want to go online, just go to chefshop.com.
Thank you.
You got to go into the shop though, Tom,
Yeah, it's fun.
because the
And
chocolate
I like
in
to
there.
flip, I like
and
to flip the team crap because they're in there all day long just eating the nicest food in the world, and it's like, give me a break. Give me a break. You have anything bad in your life?
Do I have anything bad in my life or in
Yeah.
my shop?
And you both. I mean, it's just so perfect in there. When we come back, we're going to play a little trivia brought to you by Rub with Love Spice Rubs on Cairo Radio. It's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do a group shot after.
Oh, what?
We can do a group shot after. You and your
You see
side.
so many of these in Italy.
It's funny when I look on the camera, it doesn't look too bad. I wore these teaching a class, and I was like, I'm like making gnocchi here, and then I'd look up, and I was like,
You got all day. Take your time. Cam,
What's your
can you
favorite
fix the
song?
mic for us, please?
"What's your favorite song?"
Is this perfect?
Just, are you going to stand or sit?
I'm going to stand.
So bring it up as far as high as it goes, so you're not trying to.
All right.
And then when you look at your thing, if you're going to look at your computer, move the mic in front of your computer.
But I mean,
In front?
Because I don't want you like this. I want you like this.
Uh-huh.
See what I
I
mean?
mean, it's amazing. I don't have any problem.
Is this better? Okay. I should have printed this out.
See, now you're already talking to the
Just
side,
eat
so
it
just
earlier and
move your mic over or move your computer over.
I'll eat
this
it
way.
earlier dinner as pasta.
This needs to be right in front of your face like this.
Okay.
So
Burn
put
it
your-
off a little bit before I sleep.
I can. No, I put the font pretty big.
Now when you read, you're
How
looking
much
right
is
at
the
you're
gin
talking
filler?
right into your mic.
Okay. I can do this.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
You got this?
Yep.
Rookie.
Oh, Taylor.
Oh, I am a rookie.
Welcome back to the Hot Stove Society Show. It's our last segment. Eliza Ward of Chef Shop, pardon me, is staying to be one of our victims, our trivia victims today.
Yes.
We could be the victims, Tom. She's
I
quite
think we
way,
should
I'm
do, I
feeling-
think we
I'm
should
feeling
do this
strong.
as teams.
I'm feeling strong today. So, Rub with Love, food for thought, tasty trivia. Rub with Love is found around the country in great retail stores like the Royal Wren, W-R-E-N, in Geneva, Illinois, the market at River Falls in Potomac, Maryland, Princess Seafood Market in Fort Bragg, California, Nature's Oasis in Durango, Colorado, Old Timey Meat Market with locations in Lexington and Columbia, South Carolina, and right here, of course, at Chef Shop. What do you have of ours?
We carry your barbecue sauces.
Our barbecue sauce. There you go.
Oh,
You're pretty good, You've probably never tried them because you eat fancier.
Well,
than
it's
that,
been a
but-
while, I
Yeah.
must admit.
All right, Taylor, do you know how to play the game?
I do.
All
Yes.
right, how do we play?
All right. So I'm going to be here and I'm going to ask you all questions. And whoever answers the most questions correct gets to choose someone from the audience to take home their very own Rub with Love.
All right, so audience, it'd be a good time for one of you to suck up to all of us.
they get a 3-pack, don't they?
Yeah, they get to stroll through the gift shop and find 3 different rubs to get for free.
All right. Bridget, you're first.
Am I first?
Yep,
Okay.
You're first.
Should we switch it up, Tom, and have you go first?
Oh,
okay,
no.
I'll go
Whatever you
first.
want.
No, I'm Just kidding. Go ahead.
Okay, Bridget. Which country is the largest producer of saffron, the world's most expensive spice?
Spain.
No.
Really? Oh, she knows.
Iran?
Yes, correct.
See, I told you. Okay.
Okay.
But did you know that actually the UK produces a lot of saffron as well?
No.
The UK does?
Yeah.
Do you know where 80% of the world's saffron production goes?
She's thinking.
I'm thinking, not the
To make
US.
Fernet Branca.
To make what?
Fernet Branca.
Italy.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
We got to look that one up.
Okay.
All right. Which flower is saffron derived from?
The crocus.
Yes. Okay. The chocolate cake known as Sachertorte was created in which city?
Ooh, which city?
Yeah.
It's created in Austria, and I'm going to guess it's Vienna.
Yes. Okay.
That was a guess. It could have been Salzburg.
You know, when you
No,
act,
you were correct.
when you act so surprised when Bridget gets one right, it's really not the best thing.
I'm just proud of
She's
her.
trying to be positive.
You can scoff at
Did
Tom
you hear what
when
she
it's-
said? Really? You got it.
Well, I didn't know these answers, so but you're like an
Oh.
encyclopedia, so
You're making our listeners feel good.
okay, good. Question number 4. When talking about pastries, what is a Berliner?
What is a what?
Berliner?
A Berliner is a donut.
What
And
kind of donut?
A Berliner is a filled donut, and it usually has some kind of a cream in there, usually a vanilla cream or
So it's a German jelly-filled donut with powdered sugar.
jelly
Yeah.
too. I like the cream ones.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure that that's the right answer.
We'll take it. We'll give it to Bridget. All right, last question. What is the English translation of the name of the Italian dessert tiramisu?
Lift me up.
Ooh.
Tira means lift. Me is I, and su means
As a boy.
Okay, well, you do speak Italian, so I'll give it to you.
Oh my
but
Lord.
it's make me happy.
no. That's not true.
Lift me up, make me happy.
Oh, Tom's like waving his arms. I am 100%
Here's what you should fight
positive
for. Lift me up and make me happy are the same thing.
It's sort of like make my world.
Yeah.
in Tom's world.
I'm just saying.
In
you should fight
Tom's
for that.
world, like whatever answer you want.
She gave it to you.
This is
You
the
should
make
fight for that.
Thank
Italian
you,
version.
Taylor.
So next time
I'm correct.
Next time I'm like an Italian time. Who is it? Make my day. Tiramisu.
Take the elevator, tiramisu.
All
Tear
right.
out your heart. Okay, so that's 4 out of 5. All
4
right.
out of 5. All right, Eliza, you're next.
Uh-oh.
Okay, what meat sandwich gets its name from the Greek word for turning? I can give you some multiple choice.
Let's just say he was on the show earlier.
Yeah, and
mentioned
I
it.
wasn't. I was moving my car. I
You
can't
were
know what it's
sitting right
called.
there. So what you're saying is you weren't listening.
I wasn't
to
listening.
our show.
I was getting nervous about my segment.
So I'll give you some multiple choice. Shawarma, falafel, or gyro.
Oh right, okay. Gyro.
Yep. All right.
Okay.
This one's fun. What popular cookie was created by accident from Toll House Inn in the 1930s?
The chocolate chip cookie.
Yep. She used chopped up Nestle chocolate bars in the cookie dough instead of using baker's chocolate, which resulted in the chocolate chips not melting. Okay, what country did the Caesar salad originate?
Mexico.
Yes. Do you know how? Do you know the story?
Somebody important needed to be fed, and there wasn't
Cesar.
enough ingredients. Cesar, was that
No,
it?
Cesar
So they-
was the chef, wasn't it?
Caesar, yeah, was the chef.
It was the chef, and someone important had to make food for somebody, and he made it up on the spot.
Yep.
I think.
They ran out of ingredients, and those were the only ingredients he had. So then you got the Caesar salad.
Yay!
Okay.
Of course, the quality of the ingredients is everything.
What type of fish is used in the Nordic dish gravlax?
Say that again.
What type of fish is used in the Nordic dish gravlax?
Gravlax. Cod.
Oh,
No.
she got one wrong. Gravlax.
Gravlax.
Gravadlax. Salmon.
Salmon.
Salmon. Yep.
She guessed cod, though. That's wrong.
Okay, maybe. I'll give you half a point.
I don't sell gravlax, so I guess I don't know.
Last question. Which Italian cheese is made from the whey of sheep or cow's milk after the curds have been removed?
Is that pecorino?
Oh, wait a minute. What's the question?
Which Italian cheese is made from the whey of sheep or cow's milk after the curds have been removed?
After the curd has been removed.
It's made with the curd or with the whey that's left over.
What's the way that's left over?
The whey that's left over. It's a very delicious cheese.
Is it ricotta?
Yeah, I was going to say ricotta salata.
It's in lasagna.
Ricotta?
Yes, ricotta. All right, that was the
So it's a
last
fresh
one.
I'll give her that one.
Okay.
Give me good because you just want me to.
You're not getting the codfish one. I'm telling you.
Oh, I was going to give her a 4.5.
Yeah, I know what you were going to do.
All right, so we're tied up.
Tom.
Eliza and Bridget are
I
tied.
know.
All right, Tom.
I'm used to losing here.
What is a West Virginia delicacy that has Italian origins and was invented in the 1920s as lunch for coal miners?
Mortadella,
No.
bologna,
Nope.
salami,
Nope.
prosciutto.
No.
No.
So it's called pepperoni rolls.
It's called what?
Pepperoni rolls.
I would have guessed bologna too.
It's not really well known.
I guess not.
Bologna.
No. Okay.
Totino's. I didn't know they were from West Virginia.
They weren't
No,
around.
those aren't it because those have sauce in them.
Oh, okay.
These don't have sauce.
Okay.
Okay. Number 2. Which fruit is known as the king of fruits in Southeast Asia?
The jackfruit, breadfruit,
Durian.
Durian.
durian. Same
Yep.
idea.
You can give him that point. He gave me one. Half a point.
Okay, we'll give him maybe half
I don't
a
need your
point.
charity.
Oh, okay.
I've already
okay, never
lost.
mind. Take it away then.
Okay, true or false? Kopi Luwak is a type of coffee that is made from coffee beans that have been partially digested by an Asian palm civet. The beans are then cleaned, roasted, and sold.
True.
Yes.
Poopy coffee.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Oddly enough, it's brown.
Poopy.
Yeah, I wouldn't eat it. But I would try it once. With an annual per capita consumption rate of 8.8 kilograms, which country is the world's largest consumer of chocolate per capita? Belgium, Germany, Switzerland, or the U.S.?
Switzerland.
Yes. Which South American grain was referred to as the mother of all grains by the Incas?
By the Aztecs or the Incas?
The Incas.
Quinoa.
Yep. Okay, I have a tiebreaker for you too.
So
This-
what you're saying is that I've lost already.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
She didn't even.
Thanks for acknowledging my
She's looking at
efforts.
us.
You tried. Great job.
Yeah.
Tiebreaker for you two. It's not food related.
Okay, so you have to slap, and whoever goes first. Right?
Or we can
I would
just keep
suggest
going.
taking your arms out from there. Yeah, there we go. Ready, go.
Okay. How many miles is the Great Wall of China?
Are we supposed to guess a number?
Or
Whoever's closest.
Yeah.
Whoever gets closest.
2,000.
I'd say 8,000 kilometers.
Oh no, miles, please.
So that would be about 5,000.
4,000.
Okay. It's actually
Oh.
13,000 miles.
What?
Yeah.
Wow,
So
Eliza, you won.
I just had to guess more than you.
Yeah.
So you went first.
Nice job, Eliza. You get to pick somebody from the audience to take a free stroll through our gift shop. If you want to be part of the show, you can join the community on YouTube Live at Tom Douglas & Co. or buy a ticket to join us here in the studio at hotstovesociety.com. The show is produced by Amy Richardson and Taylor Feely today. Our technical wizard is Cameron Thomas, and our talented editor at Cairo is Sean. Please don't call me Del Torre. And if you missed any episode of our Hot Stove Society show on Cairo, please just listen via podcast from your favorite podcast app.
Thanks for listening.
All right, we have quiet on the set for just 15 seconds here. Hi, I'm Chef Tom Douglas.
And I'm Chef Bridget Charters.
Today on the Hot Stove Society radio show, we talk authentic Turkish flavors with Burke Gall of Hamdi Restaurant in Freelard. Margo Flanes is here from Big John's PFI to share her Cheese of the Month Club. And yes, I know it's Flanes. And Eliza Ward is here from Chef Shop to help us pick the perfect dried pasta. Good.
Great.
Thank you.
Perfect. Huh? Oh, I'll happily